China.
Bing, bing, bong.
Obamacare.
Bing, 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 bong. Bong, bong, bong.
Get those lights off.
Bing, 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 bing.
China.
Bong, bong. Bing, 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 bong.
Turn off the lights.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week. We are having a beautiful green day in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency land. You can see right here, we are in fact having a breakout. Now, in yesterday's video, we did say Bitcoin breakout. I said within the next 24 to 48 hours. Well, looks like we are currently having it right now. We are breaking out of the triangle. However, I am going to point out right now, we are being currently held down by this 7.2K level. This was a very important level where we had the VPVR, so do keep your eyes on that. Price could be totally different by the time you watch this video. However, I don't just want to talk about the Bitcoin price. Of course, we're going to talk about that. I want to go into actually, one particular Bitcoin chart right here, which compared to this chart, which I'm not going to tell you what it is. Some of you might know this, but it does look like Bitcoin is following the exact same pattern. And well, I don't have to tell you what happened to this chart below. I also want to discuss the fact that we have seen cryptocurrency derivatives absolutely exploding in volume. And I want to go over one specific, let's just say if people find out about this, well, the Bitcoin price could absolutely soar. This is not the halving. It's not the fact that we're having the Fed print tons of money. You're definitely going to want to stick around for that, as promised from yesterday's video. We're going to be super quick. We're going to get straight to the point. And if that sounds good to you, well, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, definitely consider it. We do these videos for the most part every single day. And without further ado, we need to dive straight in and have a look at price. Look at this. Currently right now, guys, as I'm making this video, we already wicked above it. And now we're sitting directly at the line right there. So getting above this sort of, well, it is actually $7,168. This level is going to be quite difficult. The reason for this level is because it is a very high accumulation for the VPVR right here. You could see basically since November 18th all the way to the week of January 6th, this provided an excellent opportunity for Bitcoin accumulation. So this is the price to beat. You can see the VPVR above my head right here. We are being currently held down. So if you're watching this video and the price is a little bit lower, that's why. But should you throw in the towel? Well, currently you can see we have been supported by this upwards trend. So there is a potential that Bitcoin could retest, believe it or not, even down to the $6,700 levels, and we would still be in an uptrend, okay? Now, keep in mind, if we do break above this, then I believe we're headed to about the $7,800 level, and if we get above that, well, then that would definitely be blue skies for Bitcoin. Now, we were speaking about the CME futures gap yesterday. We already closed it. I didn't even have a chance to plot it. We've already closed it, guys. So that gap did get closed. Keep in mind, we have seen wicks up to the gap and then subsequent pullbacks. We do also have this big blue gap up there at $9,060. But let's just take it a day at a time, guys, okay? But here's the interesting thing. We were talking about essentially the Bitcoin adjusted transaction volume. Now, I think this was about either 3 or 4 days ago, we were mentioning it. And essentially, we were seeing, number one, a lot of Bitcoin hodlers moving their crypto off of exchanges into their own wallets. And number two, we were seeing very low, basically transaction volume. Now, some people were saying, well, this is a bad thing. People aren't using Bitcoin. They're not spending it. Well, on the flip side, we could also say that people are holding it, right? They're putting it away for long-term storage. In fact, we saw reports coming out from Coinbase. You had Adam Back, you had Ari Paul, and a few others saying that they were having friends call them up and saying, hey, how can I get Bitcoin? They were buying millions of dollars worth, and they were putting it in, cold storage, something like a Ledger Nano S, right? So that was really good news. We also saw some kind of Bitcoin bears, even like Tone Vase, come out, and he says, I've been saying on my YouTube channel for the past 2 weeks. Now, keep in mind, he was calling for these crazy low levels, 2,500. He says, no, I believe Bitcoin has bottomed. In fact, he says, I would be surprised to see Bitcoin under a $6,000 daily close ever again. So for Tone Vase, who was a bear for quite a long time, is saying that he doesn't think that Bitcoin is going to go below $6,000. Now, I do want to point out something that we cannot ignore, and that is the fact that this is a beautiful pump that we're having at the time of making this video. However, we are really only at the center of this ascending trend, okay? Now, keep in mind, the first time we had this right here, we had a massive dump. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to have a massive dump this time. That was very circumstantial. We had the things going on with the virus, okay? That was really affecting things. But I do want to point out that we are still only at the heartline, okay? We really need to get up to the top of this channel, which is literally, as you can see right here, if I draw a line straight across, this is directly at the $7,800 level that I've been talking about. So I haven't changed my tune on this channel. Am I bullish? I'm always bullish on Bitcoin. Long term, short term, I still think we need to get above $7,800. Now, let's talk about these two charts and their significance. So if you haven't guessed it already, the chart on the bottom is actually from 1998 all the way to 2011 for Amazon. Yes, and if you don't remember, Amazon from top to bottom lost over 95% of its total value. Now keep in mind from top to bottom here, Bitcoin only fell about 84%. So as crazy volatile as Bitcoin is, Bitcoin didn't even lose as much market cap as Amazon did in Amazon's crash that it had back when it fell to its lows between 2001 and 2003. Well, have a look right here. We had this major, basically bear market, capitulation. Then we started to put in this sideways flag, and then Amazon went into a massive rally afterwards. So the question is this little dump right here, this little pump and dump that we had, this for Amazon, or are we looking for a major pump? Now, I'm not saying that obviously the Bitcoin and the Amazon charts are going to play out exactly the same, but it is always fun to entertain these fractals. Also, before we get to the big story of the day, I do want to talk about the fact that you could see right here by this chart increasing that crypto-backed derivatives have seen their highest trading volumes ever last month. So this means right now, at the time of making this video, that crypto derivatives are absolutely exploding. You have basically futures and perpetual swap contracts totaled 600 billion during March, with 53 billion of that coming in one single day, being March 12th. This is compared to about the 2 trillion of total spot trading for both February and March. You can see the vast majority of this type of trading, believe it or not, continues to be on regular crypto exchanges rather than traditional exchanges like the CME. So this basically shows that the majority of the trading is actually happening with the retail, with us on the exchanges that we use, right? So obviously the advantage of using derivatives and why it has become so popular is simply because when you have moves like this, you can make a lot more money. Obviously, when you're trading on spot, you buy Bitcoin, you hold it, and then you sell it for a higher price. And whatever the percentage is, if Bitcoin goes up 5%, you make 5%. But say, for example, you're doing something on Bybit or one of these other exchanges and you use, let's say, 3x leverage. Well, now that 5% is 15%, so you can make a lot more money. But you can also lose a lot more money. For example, if Bitcoin was to go 5% in the wrong direction, now you're down 15%, okay? And this is why leverage can get very dangerous when these people are out there using 25x, 50x. That's crazy. 25x leverage. Bitcoin moves 4% in the wrong direction. 4 times 24, you are liquidated. Very dangerous. It can have really good rewards, but you can also get completely wrecked, okay? Definitely be safe out there if you are interested in learning how to trade on derivatives, specifically Bybit. That's what I prefer to use. You can check out my tutorial popping up above. I also do have a link below if you guys use it. It does help support the channel, and you can also get up to $90 worth of rewards. Now, talking about the big story of the day. This is what I wanted to discuss. Now, my buddy Elio Trades from FUD TV, you may know him. I've actually had him on the channel a few times. He put out this video, which I think is definitely a completely underrated video. You should definitely check it out. So if you type in gold equals toilet paper, and this video is called Gold Equals Toilet Paper for the Rich, Bitcoin set to explode as precious metals become unavailable. Well, I want to dive into this a little bit because you have seen Max Kaiser essentially coming out and saying that gold is toilet paper for the rich, Bitcoin for the poor. What does he mean by this? Well, I want to play a few clips from this video, of course, with my buddy's permission, and shout out to Max Kaiser, Stacey Herbert for doing the interview, and Elio Trades from FUD TV for putting it all together. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, definitely check out FUD TV, but I want to play a few clips from this video, and I think you'll understand exactly why I'm definitely excited about the future of Bitcoin.
So in other words, no price discovery is allowed, no risk borne by the financier allowed, no risk for the billionaire class, no possibility of losing a penny. as long as the central bank has committed to infinite money printing. Infinite, those are their words. Infinite money printing. So that means that the stock market, the S&P 500, the bond market, is being taken private. Okay? All those stocks and bonds will no longer be publicly traded or publicly listed, or the vast majority of them will no longer be. They'll be then, like Dell Computer. Remember, Michael Dell decided a few years ago, I hate being a public company, too much work, and my stock's terrible. I'm just going to go private. Well, okay, apply that now to the majority of the S&P 500. They're just going to go private. So what will be left is a vast penny stock-like junk bond market for idiots and casino operators to lose money in every single day for the benefit of the rentiers. Pretty much, that's the future. If you notice, the stock market is not going down, particularly at this very moment, as the flood of the wall of the tsunami of money flows into the pockets of the billionaires.
So essentially what they're talking about is what we've been seeing over the past several weeks, where essentially the Fed has promised to print infinite amounts of money to salvage the current equities markets. And that's why the stock markets have sort of had these safeguards on the markets. They've had circuit breakers, which have stopped the markets from going into free fall several times over the past few weeks. And then after the Fed has promised essentially that they're going to start stepping in to public markets like the equities markets and start buying stocks, they're essentially saying, we're writing a blank check to the billionaire class here. We're writing a blank check to the powers that be, saying, we're not going to allow you to have that risk. We're not going to allow you to bear the risk of the potential of a downturn in the markets. And that's sort of keeping the ship at least level right now. But long term, that's going to cause a significant drop in confidence in the fiat system, which of course the fiat system is based 100% on confidence.
Now it's the best of times and the worst of times in the gold market as well, as we've been covering. And I have a tweet here from Roy Sabag. The situation in the gold market has not improved. There is no metal, and bullion banks have now stopped offering two-way markets for gold. The spot price is disconnected and seems to be discovering the price for something that isn't gold. If you have gold to sell, contact us.
Right. Well, there's two parts to the financialization of the world and the increase in debt to many hundreds of trillions of dollars around the world, many hundreds of times GDP around the world, and that is the suppression of gold. We started doing all this content business back when GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, in the early 2000s, issued a report on gold suppression. This is one of the first things we covered. And this has been the story since that early 2000 period. Gold and silver have not been allowed to express their market price. There's been no true price discovery because you can't have a financialization going on rampant with hundreds of trillions of dollars worth of worthless debt and paper money without suppressing the price of gold. Now we're at the point where the fiat money is starting to finally hit the buffers, and so gold is allowed to be valued in the true price discovery as the COMEX and the LBMA collapse, as they did in the early 60s during the gold pool days. That means you're going to see, I believe, in my opinion, price of gold at currently in the $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 range, $1,600 range will gap open to $2,500 and head over to $5,000 to make up for all that lost time.
What we're going to show here in a couple seconds is that gold right now is actually proving to be the reserve asset that everyone considers it, and that in a time like this, the demand for something like gold is absolutely skyrocketing, and that has tremendous implications for Bitcoin.
You're seeing a demand for physical. People want physical gold. These investors, these multi-billionaires want gold. Nation states, central banks want gold. And that's what you're seeing, this shortage of the gold supply. The paper markets are unable to deliver physical gold. That's what we're seeing with these exchange for physical contracts being broken.
Right now, people cannot get their hands on gold. People who are in the market for gold are unable to buy it.
You're already starting to see this in things like orange juice prices. So orange juice prices, due to the pandemic, which is caused in part by the proliferation of paper money in the absence of gold price discovery, is now skyrocketing in price due to shortages because it's a physical thing. And people say, oh, I need my health, I want my orange juice. Well, the price is now skyrocketing. Same thing is happening on the commodities, and the same thing is happening with gold and silver. Remember, billionaires think of gold and silver the way the unemployed people think about toilet paper.
Yeah, you've said this, and you said that a few episodes ago, you did warn that what would happen is just as you see people stampeding to the supermarket to buy toilet paper, you still can't, 2 weeks later, you cannot get any on Amazon. There's a shortage of toilet paper, and you can't find a roll for any price. You said the same thing would happen with gold, that once you needed it, it wouldn't be there for you. And you see that in this tweet related to the gold market as well from Holger Schweitzbitz. Gold market is facing unprecedented turmoil. Worldwide panic over coronavirus outbreak and flood of stimulus by central banks has ignited demand for one of humanity's oldest methods of storing wealth. It's suddenly much harder to get metal when it's needed.
I predict the ultimate, and this is not only the ultimate use case, but the ultimate irony, is that once people realize they cannot get gold, they'll start flocking en masse into Bitcoin because that'll be the only way they can protect their wealth with a reliable store of value. And that's so funny because everyone in the gold community and the Bitcoin community have been warring back and forth for years. Ultimately, the ultimate use case for Bitcoin is when no gold is available at any price because there's simply the billionaires have scarfed it all up.
So there you have it. You need to put this in perspective. Your paper money is only worth what it gets you. And for a lot of people right now, that paper money is coming significantly secondary to real hard assets, things that you need, right? Like a place to stay, or more importantly right now in a viral pandemic, orange juice. Vitamin C is something that will keep us alive, and therefore that commodity, that asset, is starting to skyrocket when it's compared to a paper money that's being printed infinitely. Now that correlation is going to be the same as we start to look at other asset classes, and precisely this moment in time is what Bitcoiners and the cryptocurrency community have warned about en masse for many years, because the truth is that right now is the time where we're all starting to question what the value of this paper money really is. If they can just print it infinitely, then why do we have to work so hard just to keep a roof over our heads? Why do we have to pay taxes? These are all significant questions that I've heard friends of mine that are not financially inclined or financially literate. They are all asking this basic question. If they have a money printer that has no limit to the amount of money it can print, then why do I have to pay taxes? And that's not a wrong question to ask. It's a very logical question, and it's a question that leads you down the road to hard assets like Bitcoin and gold.
So obviously, quickly to summarize the video from this Cointelegraph article, he says, I predict, and this is not only the ultimate use case, but the ultimate irony, that once people realize that they cannot get gold, they will start flocking en masse into Bitcoin. Let me know what you think about that below. Do you think this is just fantasy? Gold and Bitcoin are totally different? Or do you think that this story actually has some validity? I'd love to hear your opinions about this below. And I do want to end on actually one kind of cool story about blockchain adoption. Swiss multinational food and drink processing giant Nestle, you might be familiar with them. They do Poland Spring as well. I believe they own them. Is set to expand the use of the IBM Food Trust blockchain technology platform to its famous, I believe it's Zogas or Zoegas coffee brand, not really sure, but that is just more blockchain coming to the masses. Let me know what you think about that below. Once again, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. We are currently being held down by this level at around the 7.2K level, so do be careful. Trade accordingly. Like I said, guys, we could potentially come back down to about $6,700. I would still be bullish if we do have a significant breakout and close above the 7.2K level and we can put in a nice solid daily candle. Then yes, I am anticipating a $7,800 Bitcoin. However, we do have to see how everything plays out. We have to see what happens with traditional markets. And of course, we have to see what happens with the virus that's going on right now. We do have a lot of people unemployed right now, and that is going to take a toll. It already is taking a toll on the economy. So if that sounds good to you, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I do appreciate it. Consider getting subscribed. I do have a free Telegram group. Lots of people, just everyday people. We hang out, we talk. I don't charge any money. It's totally free. We just talk crypto all day. Thank you so much again. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.